When thinking about why Mischievous Light hasn't actively stopped us indoors, it all comes down to one major thing. It's not really trying to stop us, but rather, it's making sure things stay in balance. The whole idea of Mischievous Light isn't about evil intentions. It's more about making sure the game doesn't break its own rules. You mentioned the entity can die, and how it kills you but gives you 5 candy points instead of just 1. This right here shows the balance that Mischievous Light is trying to keep. Now, let's dig deeper. It isn't just about Mischievous Light playing the villain. In fact, it's more like a force of nature that ensures the game doesn't spiral out of control. We all know how Guiding Light is meant to help us progress, lighting our way and guiding us out of tough spots. But here's the twist. Guiding Light is actually disrupting something bigger in the game. Think about it. The game has a set structure, and breaking out of that structure could break the game itself. This is where Mischievous Light steps in. Its job is to stop anything that might upset that balance, especially when it comes to players escaping too easily. The relationship between these lights, Guiding Light, Curious Light, and Mischievous Light, has been a topic of interest for a while. Guiding Light seeks to lead us to safety, while Mischievous Light, on the other hand, wants to keep the balance intact. So why does Mischievous Light stop Guiding Light from helping? Well, it's like trying to keep the scales balanced. If you tip one side, things fall apart. You see, the light doesn't want to make it impossible for us to win, but it has limits. It won't just let us walk through, unscathed, to the endgame. Think about the different entities in the game. Each one has its own rules and power structures. Take Seek, for instance. We know that Seek has this unique characteristic of chasing us, with the red light following him wherever he goes. That red light? It's a signature of Mischievous Light. But here's the twist. Mischievous Light isn't just guiding Seek, it's also using that red light to ensure that the entity finds us. It's almost like a game of hide and seek, with Mischievous Light trying to help Seek find us, even though we're actively trying to run. Now, let's get into why this makes sense within the broader lore of Doors. The game's setting, the monsters, and the lights all exist within a prison-like environment. You could say that limbo is a great way to describe it, as the term has connotations of being stuck or trapped somewhere between two worlds. This place where we find ourselves, this maze of rooms and entities, might not be just a game. Maybe it's some kind of higher-level reality, and we got here by accident. So, Mischievous Light might just be trying to keep things from falling apart as we try to escape. But there's something else we need to consider. What about the other sectors of the game, like the mines or the hotel? The lights there are noticeably different from what we see on other floors. For instance, Guiding Light seems to have this protective aura where it can actually close doors, putting up barriers and preventing entities from attacking. In areas like the mines, the library, or even the hotel, this light creates a defense that keeps certain threats from getting too close. It's like a shield that blocks us from the monsters. But why can't Mischievous Light do the same thing? It's a little more complicated than just being the opposite of Guiding Light. Mischievous Light has limited power in that sense. It can't just close doors or block us completely, because that would disrupt the balance in a way that doesn't serve its purpose. Its role isn't to stop us outright, but to prevent things from getting too easy, too predictable. Maybe it's trying to ensure that we earn our progress. That's why it uses the modifiers to affect our journey, making things harder or easier, depending on how the balance needs to shift. Let's go deeper. The idea of modifiers really ties into this. These modifiers can change the game drastically, whether it's adding obstacles, increasing difficulty, or rewarding players with something new. Mischievous Light could be seen as the enforcer of these changes, bringing a level of unpredictability to the game that forces us to think on our feet. It's like the game's way of making sure we don't take the easy path. The modifiers are its tools to create chaos or reward, but always in a way that keeps the balance intact. We can't forget about the interaction with Seek either. This whole red light thing could very well be Mischievous Light playing a part in guiding Seek to us. It could be leading the way for the entity to find us, and that's why the red light follows us in the chase sequences. It's like the light is trying to make sure Seek does its job, bringing us closer to the end of our journey, but not before we've earned it. Now, there's one more thing to consider: the name, Mischievous Light itself. Some have speculated that this might not even be the proper name for the entity. It could be a placeholder for something much more complex. Mischievous Light might not even have a name because its role is more abstract, more mysterious than any of the other lights. Unlike Guiding or Curious Light, which are fairly self-explanatory, Mischievous Light seems to be both helping and hindering us at the same time. It's a force that keeps the game from getting too predictable, too easy, which is why we can't always rely on it. So, to wrap things up, Mischievous Light isn't trying to stop us, but it's certainly not going to let us get away without facing some challenges. Its role is to maintain balance, to make sure we don't just walk through the game without consequences. It's not about being evil or malicious, it's about creating a system where we have to earn our progress and not just be handed a win. The lights and doors all serve different purposes, but Mischievous Light is the one that keeps everything in check.